What's up, fellow wanderers and would-be relocators? Welcome back to Pardon the Curiosity. It's Relocation Tuesday, and today we're staying close to home, right here in the Mile High City. Now, if you spend any time in Denver, you've probably jogged through Cheesman Park, taken a walk, maybe had a lazy Sunday on the grass. It's peaceful, it's serene, classic urban charm. But let me ask you this. Would you still hang out there if you knew what's buried beneath it? Hundreds of forgotten bodies, a boxed exhumation, and the real-life inspiration for Poltergeist. Yeah, today we're diving into Denver's most haunted backyard. Let's take a walk through Cheesman Park. So back in 1858, long before this land was covered in yoga mats and dog walkers, it was known as Prospect Hill Cemetery. Denver was still a dusty frontier town, and this plot became the resting place for pioneers, criminals, Civil War veterans, and those society had forgotten. So by the 1890s, Denver was changing. The gold rush boom had given way to a growing upper class. Real estate was hot, and the idea of a crumbling cemetery in the middle of an emerging city, not so appealing. The city made a decision. Let's convert the land into a park. But first, we'll need to relocate the bodies. Simple enough, right? Well, enter E.P. McGovern, an undertaker hired to do the job. He was to respectfully dig up and transfer the remains to new cemeteries across the city. But here's where the nightmare begins. McGovern was paid $1.90 per coffin, and he saw an opportunity. He began dissecting bodies, cramming multiple sets of remains into small, child-sized boxes. Limbs were separated from torsos, skulls discarded, graves left wide open. So reporters discovered the horror. Photos hit the papers, coffins splintered, bones scattered across the ground, and a macabre assembly line of mutilation happening just outside of downtown Denver. Well, the city shut the operation down. But by then, hundreds of bodies were still never moved. And Cheesman Park was built anyway, on top of it all. Now, if this all sounds eerily familiar, it should. In 1982, Hollywood gave us Poltergeist. A suburban family builds their home over a cemetery. Strange things begin to happen, and eventually we learn the developers only moved the headstones and not the bodies. This wasn't just fiction. Screenwriter Michael Graves and others have admitted the story was inspired, in part, by real events like these that happened at Cheesman Park. It wasn't the only inspiration, but Cheesman was a major one. Sometimes truth really is stranger and scarier than fiction. So since the park opened, the area has carried an undeniably eerie energy. Locals have reported disembodied voices whispering through the trees at night, sudden intense feelings of sadness or dread, especially around the old pavilion, apparitions that appear briefly and then vanish, and the infamous legend, if you lie on the grass at night, you might feel the weight of someone lying beneath you. Some residents in the nearby homes say their lights flicker, and others swear they hear crying in the early hours. There are even accounts of dogs barking at nothing, then refusing to go near certain parts of the park. You know, and Cheesman Park isn't alone. Just up the road in Estes Park, the Stanley Hotel inspired Stephen King to write The Shining after one eerie night in room 217. Guests there still report piano music with no pianist, ghostly children running the halls, and items moving on their own. So from Central City's haunted graveyard to the Black Forest shadow people, Colorado has a surprisingly deep haunted history hiding beneath its snow-capped peaks and craft breweries. We're not just talking about hiking and hipsters, folks. Now here's the twist. Cheesman Park today is prime real estate. Victorian homes, luxury apartments, clean, walkable streets. People pay top dollar to live here. But under all that beauty is a tangled mess of forgotten bones and shattered coffins. So would you move in? Would you jog those paths, host your wedding near the pavilion, raise a family over a former graveyard? Or does the haunted past just make it more interesting? If you're loving these strange relocation stories, make sure to like, follow, and drop a ghost emoji in the comments. And hey, if you're ever visiting Cheesman Park and felt something off, we want to hear about it. Next Tuesday, we've got another relocation tale with a twist, so stay tuned. Until then, stay curious and maybe don't lie down in the grass too long.